Dixie here. I've had a lot of folks ask, how do you end up with all of the gear that you review? Like, how exactly do you get it? Are you sponsored? Or maybe some folks think I'm sponsored by several different companies. So today I want to delve into that. It's not uncommon these days for influencers to be compensated for their reviews. And this could be in the form of a sponsorship by one or several companies, or maybe direct payment for a review, or sometimes free products are sent to the influencer in trade for a review. Or sometimes companies provide gear to reviewers temporarily, and then after the person is done reviewing it, they send it back. And this doesn't have to be limited to the backpacking community. It could be the world of fishing or hunting or photography. There are a lot of different online communities that have influencers that are receiving some sort of compensation for the content they are putting out. So I'm not surprised that people might think that I also fall into that category and I'm somehow paid for reviews. But with that said, I am not sponsored, nor do I receive payment or free products in exchange for reviews. Now, I'm not criticizing those who decide to do things differently or that accept sponsorships. I think as long as you are transparent with your audience and let them know what you're doing, then from that point, it's really just a personal preference. But for myself, I don't like having any obligation to any sort of sponsor for a couple of different reasons. First of all, I like having full control over what I post, when I post, how I post. So as long as I do things independently, then there's nobody who can have control over those things except for myself. And second, I never want to be in this awkward position between the gear companies and my audience, kind of like the middleman. Because how awkward would it be for gear companies to pay for me to have this product and review it, and then I really don't like the product? I mean, I would hate to have to sit there and then say how much I didn't like the product when they were kind enough to either provide it or pay for me to have it. And then on the flip side, if I'm reviewing a certain product and my audience knows that it's been paid for by a company, do they really think that I'm able to give a fully unbiased review of this said piece of gear? So I just don't want to be in that position at all. So I just avoid sponsorships. I have had individual subscribers contact me and ask me how they can contribute to or support the channel, and I've got that information on my website. One of the options on there is to purchase an item off of my Amazon wish list. But the things that I have listed on there are mainly items like a pair of trail runners or a replacement microphone of the one that I'm using today because I tend to be kind of rough on them. But these are items that I've personally looked at, decided I wanted, not something that was pushed on me by a gear company and somebody, has encouraged me to try it because they have a certain agenda. Most of the big ticket items like shelters, packs, sleeping bags, or quilts are purchased individually by me from revenue that's generated from this channel. So you watching this right now are probably helping me purchase the next big item that I'll test out later on some other trail. I really like buying my own gear, obviously for the reasons I've already listed, why I avoid sponsorships, but also I like to see the buying process from the customer's point of view. I like to know about lead times for different companies and ship times. And then also, if something goes wrong with the product, how does customer service handle that, knowing that I'm just a normal customer versus, I'm some influencer that they want to make sure they get a good rapport from. That's also why I don't receive any gear from companies for review and then send it back, because you can't get a real customer experience that way. Also, it keeps companies from being able to hand select a certain piece of gear they know is going to someone on YouTube. And sometimes those are the same. I think there are companies who treat their customers well regardless, but I certainly do think that there are some who would prioritize those that they are sponsoring or paying for reviews. So once I purchase these items, then I go out on trail, test them out, and once I return home, then I prepare a review and put it out for y'all So hopefully that helps you kind of narrow down what gear might work best for you, or maybe even prevent you from wasting a lot of time and money and allowing me to make all of the mistakes for you. This is basically something that started off as just a hobby, if you will. I decided in 2015 that I wanted to thru hike the Appalachian Trail, and I purchased all of my gear myself, went out there, hiked that trail, and in that started this channel that finally started paying for my hobby, and then in the last 5 years has become more or less a full-time job. So I've had a lot of folks that, because I'm sure they don't understand, say things like, you know, get a job, you millennial, or, you know, stop spending your mom and dad's money. And it's like, no, I'm not. You know, I think that people don't quite grasp how doing things online these days can actually be a job. Now, don't get me wrong, it's hands down the best job that I've ever had, and I'm very grateful for all of you who watch and support this channel and allow me to continue doing this. Coming up pretty soon, I'm going to be testing a lot of gear when I get out on the Pinhoti Trail. All of this I've already introduced to y'all, things like the poncho tarp, the tarp tent, my new hammock setup, the ULA packs. A lot of people have asked me, what happened to you doing a review on that stuff? Well, I've been delayed several times for a lot of different reasons. 2020 has been a very rough year for me personally, and I know for a lot of people also. Currently, my dad is in the hospital with COVID. He is in the recovery stages now, so as soon as he does get home, then I'll go ahead out and do my thru hike of the Pinhoti Trail. So y'all hold tight. I promise I'm getting out there, whether I have to do it in the wintertime, but hopefully it'll be in the next couple of weeks. But anyway, I'll be doing reviews of all of those pieces of gear that I've just mentioned and all of the other stuff that I've introduced y'all to but haven't gotten a chance to review yet. And I didn't want to have to, at the beginning of all of those videos, say, I'm not sponsored, I purchased this piece of gear myself, because mark my words, you can check the comments in those videos that'll come out and in gear review videos of the past, and somewhere in there somebody will say, you know, how much did you get paid for this review? Or it must be nice to have companies provide the gear for you, when in fact that's not the case. So hopefully this puts that word out there and allows people to understand how I end up with the gear that I have. I know I don't do videos like this often that kind of show the backside of everything on this channel. The backside, sorry. That show the kind of behind the scenes of the channel and how things come to be. But if you're interested, I do have a video that I did in the past that talks about how I'm able to afford this lifestyle and to do the thru hikes that I do. So if you're interested in that, then I'll put a link to that in the video description. Thank y'all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to subscribe before you go, and we will see y'all next time.